Exciting. So can you tell us where you guys are right now and where you're going?
Yeah, it's an ongoing process, and I would say that everything is evolving. We are learning from our experiences. At the community level, things are promising. At the system level, we have like different tables, right? Like a research, what we call it, knowledge transfer table. So all the researchers and data analysts and professors, they're sitting at the knowledge transfer table and developing new tools and providing assistance to the communities at the grassroots level, to the frontline staff. And similarly, different funding agencies and other organizations are sitting around what we call a resource table. Then we have municipal services table, right? So where we are heading now is that we are working in those 4 neighborhoods and then scaling up at the same time. So recently I moved to United Way, but again, continuing the same job. So we are going to provide as much support as we can to the City of Ottawa's effort under the CDF, but at the same time bring in some more neighborhoods into the fold, which are, although not part of the CDF, but CDF would be there anyway. So we are going to work on building some social capital over there. Mm-hmm. So when it's time for the CDF to come to those neighborhoods, at least there will be some social capital built up, and then focusing on the capacity building of the agencies and the communities at the grassroots level. So all that work is going on, and hopefully we'll see some results, quite encouraging results shortly.
Yeah. Looking forward to those results. So can you, as a community developer and doing the work that you do, what is it about yourself that you feel that you are, that you need to be in order to do the work that you're doing?
I think for that kind of a work, right, you need to be a catalyst, an inspiration, a motivational force for others, and most importantly, a trust builder amongst different actors. Like, there is nothing new in Ottawa, for instance, right? There are all those agencies which were working on those neighborhoods, exactly the same amount of resources, same actors, same players, same neighborhoods, but just the difference in the approach, mm-hmm. And a little difference in the focus has made all that difference and brought all those communities together. So it's not just the trust relationship between the community, for instance, between the residents and our police, but it's a trust building between different service providers at the same time that you're sitting around the table, you're looking at the bigger picture, yeah. And then identifying those areas where you can work together. So that's the key, and if you are a bridge builder and you're playing that motivational force to bring people around the table and contributing to the same cause, and working towards the same mission. So that's what makes the difference. And the bottom line for me would be to forget about yourself in the process, right? Mm-hmm. If you're focusing on yourself, your job, then you won't be able to make a difference, right? So you have to think beyond that, and thinking beyond that would have, for that you have to keep in mind that no one is honored for what he gets, right? But all those who have been honored are those who have given. And you have to give rather than thinking about having something, right? Yeah. So all, particularly for the newcomers to Canada, like if you're coming with a mindset that that's a land of opportunities and I'm going there to grab some opportunities, mm-hmm. Then it's, you'll be disappointed, right? But if you are here to contribute anywhere, so then you'll be able to make a difference and get whatever you want to get as a byproduct of your efforts in a particular direction, for a particular cause.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. So basically, summing that up in a nutshell is like when you give, you receive. Exactly. So it's that selfless serving, mm-hmm. that mm-hmm. coming from another country, that if you have that mentality that how can I, contribute myself. Exactly. That's so right. That's wonderful. Yeah. So thank you again for sharing that. And we're going to just pause here and looking forward to continuing our conversation. So we're going to take a little break, and on Heart Matters coming up, we are going to talk about how we are going to engage in the community and what that looks like on the grassroots level. Stay tuned on Heart Matters. Hi, welcome back to Heart Matters. Earlier we were talking to Abid about the vision of community development work and the successes of it. And we're going to continue the conversation now onto how you can get involved and how to engage with your community members and at the grassroots level. So, Abid, on to you.
Yeah, so the most important thing is the community engagement, right? Like all those philosophies and all those frameworks and all those models are of no use if you can't engage the residents. The basic and the primary unit is the community and the neighborhoods. And there are different approaches to community development. Some are, like if you look at the community, some scientists, political scientists define them as geographical communities, and some are define them as functional communities, like ethnic communities and linguistic communities and whatever, right? But our focus and research shows that if you focus on geographical communities, then what they call it is place matters, right? So that place-based, neighborhood-based initiatives make a huge difference, and that's how like our No Going Left Behind approach and CDF and all the work that we are doing, that's actually based on a place-based approach, which means that if you work on smaller geographical communities and engage residents in local level development, so what they do is you have to have the community members present in the initial community assessment. You have to have the question asked that what are the assets in your neighborhood, not just issues, right? What are the assets in your neighborhoods? What can you contribute to your neighborhoods? And then you develop a community action plan, and you identify that these are our priority issues that we need to address. And these are the assets that we have locally available, right? And this is how we can address our issues. And these are some additional resource requirement, which the service providers or the agencies or the funders, whomever, the partners, they can assist us in having and then addressing those issues. So they come up with an action plan, they go into implementation. It's a very simple, basic community engagement process. But then again, the key would be, for me, for instance, if I'm living in a neighborhood, not to consider my neighborhood within my house, right? I have to contribute. I have to think about the neighborhood outside my door, right. And then start thinking about contributing to that as well. So it's like there's a saying goes in our language that you cannot clap with one hand, right? So it's not just the community or just the service providers. They have to work together to make a difference.
Right. And I know in your article too, the article of the ABCs of Community Development Framework, and in it you were saying that the communities that are more thriving are the ones that have issues that they have to deal, it brings them together so that they have a local group.
Exactly. That becomes a mobilizing force. Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then another aspect I was reading, it was because coming from, my parents live in Barhaven, and I understand it's more of a suburban area, and that there's more challenges in the suburban areas. Can you enlighten us a little more about that and how we can engage in the suburban to create more of a community?
Exactly. So in some of the neighborhoods, you need to have some kind of a challenging moment to bring the community members out and then get them engaged, and they get involved because they see some threat or some issue, and they have to contribute to that. So that becomes a mobilizing force. But the key is to have that mobilization and keep it going, right? To make it sustainable. And for that, you need not to rely only on the issues, right? But also on the successes. So work for the low-hanging fruit, get the community members together, get them to talk to each other on little issues like having a speed bump, for instance, in the street, and how can we work together to do this, stuff like that. So once, it's human nature, right? People tend to stay in isolation. They feel themselves as complete, but when we are social animals, right? But when we get together, so the gregariousness in our nature comes out, and then we want to stay connected, right? So in those kinds of neighborhoods, definitely there are issues, right? But then somebody has to take a lead there, and in each of those neighborhoods there are people who can take initiative, just come out, rally around the people and keep the things moving, right? So I used to say that it's not just those low income neighborhoods which are priority neighborhoods. Every neighborhood is a priority, and every neighborhood has its issues, right? Just that there's a difference in the issues, and then in each neighborhood, just like in each of us, we have a hero in us, right?
Yes.
So similarly, in each neighborhood there are social workers, there are community leaders. They can come out, they can work together and rally around the rest of the people. And the thing is that once you build that trust relationship with the rest of the residents, they definitely contribute and they come out.
Trust sounds to be like the key thing.
That's the key factor.
Of all relationships and all the work that you're doing. So I would love to see, you know, suburban areas and other communities to have a big neighborhood party. So that like one day everyone just has a big party.
Exactly. I was told about some neighborhoods that Abid, this is not that neighborhood. These people won't come out, right? And I used to tell them that this neighborhood or these people are not from Mars. They are the same people, right?
Yes.
So it's just, again, the consistency and the commitment. So if you are consistent in doing outreach to the neighborhood, right, they definitely respond. It might be a matter of time,
Right.
but they definitely respond. And then over a period of time, what happens is that community or that neighborhood develop some kind of informal norms, right? So every new coming neighbor then adopts itself to those norms, right?
Yeah.
That becomes part of that neighborhood.
Yeah, that would be really cool to see. So I know there's many rewarding factors in the work that you do. What is one thing that really makes you feel that you are contributing to this world in such a beautiful way?
I think for me, particularly here in Ottawa, is the recognition of the work that the community members are doing. So like at different levels, at different times, particularly as you mentioned since 2007, right? So if there is some recognition, I consider it's not a recognition of my work, but that's actually a recognition of the community work, because no one in isolation can do anything, right? So that recognition gives lots of motivation to the community members, right? And then they are the ones who make the difference. They are the ones who become role models, and that's how we just move from one step to another step and keep making the difference.
Oh, beautiful. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time that we have here with you today, Abid. I could continue to talk with you forever, and you're a very noble man and continue to do the great work that you're doing. So thank you for being with us on Heart Matters.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you. So that's it for Heart Matters. Connecting one heart to another. Go and be in your neighborhood in some way. So stay tuned next time.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line at 613-759-8622 or email us your comments.